So a while ago in the winter months, in like November, getting to December, I was looking for a sugar-free cocoa mix, like basically for hot chocolate, essentially, but without sugar, right? Because it was getting cold and it was like a little festive, I was craving some hot chocolate, but I didn't want any hot chocolate with sugar because I've been down that route before and it doesn't lead to a good outcome. So I found Nestle's hot chocolate packets, which has no added sugar, and I'll put the nutrition information on screen. And I think everyone pretty much knows that added sugar is bad. Alright, that's just something that people know. But if we look on the label, it actually has sugar. On the packaging, it will say no added sugar, but there is still sugar in the product, And when I'm looking into the ingredient list, I see that there is lactose, which is a sugar. And there's also sucralose, which I'm assuming is the main sweetener, because lactose really isn't like that sweet. If you ever drank like just raw milk or just like unsweetened milk, it's not really that sweet. And so from what I gather from this nutrition label and ingredient list, it isn't using like actual like table sugar for the sweetener, but it has lactose, it has dairy sugar, it has sugar from dairy instead, which makes sense if we're thinking about hot chocolate, because hot chocolate usually has some form of milk in it, right? And so I can see that perhaps this was added for like a milkier taste, and that would give it the milk chocolate flavor, essentially. For me personally, I would buy this because it doesn't have the sugar that I'm looking out for. It doesn't have the sugar that I want to avoid as much as possible. The table sugar, especially the fructose. Pure glucose, that's alright. Sucrose or fructose in packaged and manufactured products, not just fruits, that is something that I definitely look out for. Right? And so I wanted to make this video to talk about if this was like a representative case of instances where no added sugar is bad or good or bad. And I would really say that this is probably not, because sucrose is a natural sugar. And if you don't look closely at the nutrition label, at the ingredient list, it may say no added sugar. There might still be sugar in it. And then if you don't go deeper and then look in the ingredient list to see like what specific sugars are in it, you could just get fucked up, right? It could be lactose, like it was in this case, or it could be some form of like sucrose that is quote natural, right? And so this is basically just like a sort of warning that reading the fine print, reading the nutrition label, reading the ingredient list is important if you want to avoid the addictive nature of these additives, of sugar, of specifically high fructose corn syrup, which is the most popular sugar, but mainly avoiding sucrose and fructose, because those are actually like the most, out of all the sugars there are, sucrose and fructose are the worst, and they are, I believe, the most addictive. But don't quote me. I know they are for sure the worst, but I'm not quite sure if they're the most addictive or not. But I mean, it would make sense though. Now, on the other hand, the product may not actually have like the added sugar. It may not actually have sucrose, fructose, or high fructose corn syrup. It may not actually have it. And instead, the sugar that's in the product is something like lactose. It is something like galactose, or some form of like sugar that is natural, that is actually better than added sugar, right? And in those cases, right, such as this case that I'm telling you about, this is still definitely better than the product with added sugar, with fructose, with sucrose, with high fructose corn syrup, with all that shit. This is, of course, going to be better. especially when comparing similar profiles. Like, say a product has, so let's say both products don't have any added sugar, but one's natural sugar is lactose and the other's natural sugar is sucrose. Now, of course, these in these examples, both are like manufactured and highly processed foods. All right, so it's not fruits. All right. In these cases, the one with lactose as its natural sugar is better than the one with sucrose or fructose. And this was just something that sparked my interest, and I hope you've learned something. If so, give me a like, subscribe, comment, and turn on those notifications. And I'll see you.